Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS, presented by Fisherman's Marine and Outdoor.
Welcome back, everyone. On a Saturday morning, August 2nd, we've got one of the top guides here in the Northwest before he heads to Buoy 10 for a month. Chris, it's great to see you.
Good to see you, too. Good to be here.
First things first, Cody was just on. Yourself, legendary guide, no question. You guys are nuts, man. An entire month down there just grinding it out. Do you look forward to this every year, or at this point in your career do you go, yeah, what's it like for a guy like yourself?
I look forward to it this last week. I'm getting excited, seeing all the fishing reports, watching Cody and the whole deal. You know, ask me in 2 weeks how I feel.
I can only imagine, man. Now, I've been able to, I actually fished with you once down there in the Buoy 10 fishery a long, long time ago, and that was well into the season. You get to a point to where it's just not automatic, but you know,
autopilot.
You know what your program is. You know your baits, you know your depths, you know where you want to be. That takes time, that takes years of experience to understand all that. But when you have that amount of time, you're able to get that kind of program down. What does that do for you to start the following season? What are you going to pick up with? You brought a whole bunch of different baits in that you're going to be using. Why this group, and what is it you're going to start with?
Well, I keep track of what works for me on a daily basis. Lures, types of lures, flashers, all that. And then at the end of the season, all that stuff that's been catching fish for me goes in a special pile. It gets marked, put in Ziploc bags. This is what worked. This is what worked this day. This is what worked under these conditions. I mark my flashers that are fish catchers. I use my lures that keep on catching fish. If something's not working, it gets worked out of the program in a day or two.
Gotcha.
And so I keep track of the stuff that works. And then I have records, basically, visual records of what has been working for me. Now I can go into this season and all this stuff I've been using is generally going to work, you know, because it worked on salmon last year. But every once in a while, there's a change. And you've got to be able to be flexible and work some new stuff into the program and don't get too stuck on using the exact same stuff that worked for you last year.
Gotcha.
That's how I approach it.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, and you know, for the average angler, myself included in there, you get stuck, right, on gear that you get confident, like, yeah, I got a fish on this last year, same date, same time. Well, that doesn't mean anything. I mean, just like Chris said, things can change. And based on what you brought in, again, let's get a shot with that Kershaw Tech Cam. You've got a number of different stuffer baits from something that has become extremely popular here in just the last handful of months for a number of reasons, to spin and fish. You've got the Yakima bait cut plug. You actually got the same one that we got bit on yesterday, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Mostly stuffer baits, though. Is that kind of where your comfort zone is? You like the stuffer baits as opposed to spinners? Or?
I am a spinner guy, and I'm always going to have some spinners out there. And I feel very confident with spinners most, if not all the time. But the stuffer bait thing has taken off, and you know, it makes sense. You've got a lure that spins right all the time, and you add the bait scent part to it by throwing some tuna in there or a piece of anchovy or whatever you do. So, and they work. They just flat out work. If they didn't work, we wouldn't be using them. So, so that's kind of my program. I'm going to start in the ocean tomorrow. And the fishing has been really good out there. It's been kind of easy if you land on some fish. And, you know, I have a lot of confidence in these ace high flies and with a spinner blade on there.
Show that right here. Let's just take a look at that. So you've got a little bit of a white hoochie there. And we're going to talk about hooks this upcoming segment, but very large hooks there. And then, of course, a small spinner blade. Is that only a saltwater bait for you?
I tend to do a lot better with the ace highs out in the actual ocean, and I tried them in the river once the fish move into the river in good numbers, and I still catch fish on them, but it just doesn't seem to work as well for me as a little spinner like this. You know, a small little squid, hoochie, and your more traditional brightly colored spinner blades.
Okay, and this one?
This is one that I would very...
Little hoochie on there and a 3.5 blade on it?
I call that the Glow Bronco.
Okay.
And that's a great early morning blade right there. But yeah, my program tomorrow, I'm going to start out in the ocean with some ace high flies out there and some spin fish or the E-plug, which has been a great lure for me. These catch fish, and excuse me there. So yeah, that's my program for tomorrow.
They're very interesting. I've had a chance to see them. I have never fished one, but at the mouth of the Willamette this year, there were some folks that were they were doing some things with those E-plugs that I hadn't seen before, or even heard of, let alone done it myself. But it's hard to get away from something that you're confident the spinning fish. I have to ask you though, and I will ask you this upcoming segment about these things, okay? I have a lot of confidence in them, and I know that you have a couple here at least, but these cut plugs from Yakima, it's a little bit different take on the stuffer. They have a different look than anything else that's out there, at least as opposed to what I've seen. Even the other cut plug style baits, even from Brad's, from Simon, they have a little bit different roll to them, a little bit different kick. But what are your thoughts on those? Are you going to lean on those at all this year, or are you going to kind of like wean them in?
Absolutely. I have had some success with them this spring, and we're just kind of learning about them now because they just came out in the winter. So, but here come August, like you and I were talking about earlier, we're going to learn a lot more about these things.
I think that's a proving ground.
I suspect they are going to be very fishy, and I'm going to be using them a lot. I've got a bunch of them tied up, and I look forward to putting them out there.
Yeah, it's one of those baits where everything comes in. There's so many new baits.
Yeah.
These 360 things have changed. Oh, that's my next question. Are you going to start out with 360s, or are you going to run fish flash? Are you going to run both? Everybody's year changes a little bit from what they've been doing the last decade. What are you going to do?
My last 2 or 3 seasons, I always have them in the boat, but I haven't put a triangle or it's all been 360 flash.
From the beginning of the season all the way through?
It's been Pro Troll. They just start working right away from the beginning, and I keep a box of fish flashes in the boat, and I haven't been getting them out.
And
so.
Listen, 10 years ago, I already know he would not have said that, period. Just that simple. When I fished with you, it was in the middle of the season, and you had made the switch to 360s, and it was still relatively new. You were doctoring them up with different tape and doing this and that, and which is all good. I mean, all that stuff works. But it's interesting to see how things have kind of changed in the last decade or more.
We've gotten so used to fishing them. We've gotten very comfortable with fishing them. We've gotten more educated at fishing them. We understand more about them. And I think overall, they catch more fish and they bring more fish to the boat.
They're definitely an attractor and has changed the bait manufacturing business by a long shot. And next question, and Ryan, don't let me get too far ahead if I already am not. Bait. So the report we got with Cody this morning is one of the other guides out there, Nick Popoff, who we talk here, Peel the Reel Guide Service, smoked them using anchovies. Is there a time that you still use just straight meat, or are you sticking with stuffer baits and spinners?
I'm going to have meat with me every day. I buy some anchovies, and I have some green label herring with me. And there's just those days where you get on a roll with some bait, and it works. But I'm going to start out with the metal and plastic. And the nice thing about metal and plastic is if you get bit and you miss it, you leave it out there.
Right.
You don't have to reel it in, cut a bait, get it on the hooks, look at it in the water, make sure it's spinning right. That's all lost fishing time.
Sure.
Not to say bait isn't great, and I've caught a lot of fish on bait over there.
Of course.
We all have. I'm still going to have it in the boat. And there'll be days when I'll be I want to fish some bait. I'm going to get some anchovies out and I'm going to stick them on because it works great. It does. I like catching fish on lures. And as you know, I doctor up a lot of my things. I put tape,
little eyeballs on
all
that spinning
stuff
fish.
on there.
That right there.
It's kind of like, fly tires tie their own flies.
I love that. I mean, it really does give it that, because if you pay attention to how it's actually spinning in the water, I get it. Fish comes up sideways and sees that eyes looking at him crossways, you might get mad. You never know. Right?
Eyeballs catch fish.
And even the E-plug you got here, you've got that really doctored up. And flashers as well.
Put eyeballs on my flashers too. Because what is this supposed to look like?
A salmon.
There you go.
Listen, it's all about what makes you comfortable, right? Or gives you confidence when you're out there fishing. Doesn't matter what fishery it is. Take advantage of that confidence when you can. Okay, I want to save a little bit of time. We're going to have our Chevy Silverado Tech Tip of the Week. And I want to run down Chris on my scenario that I had yesterday and how I failed so miserably with a couple of bites and nothing to show for it. See if I can get some advice from him when we come back from this break.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by Yakima Bait, steeped in tradition, innovation, and fishing success. Procure bait sense, ruthlessly effective. And by North American Metals Incorporated, first choice for all your metal roofing and siding needs.